Hello my dear friends, welcome back. Welcome to your channel Cooking Astrology. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for subscribing my channel and liking my videos. Thanks a lot. So today in this video, let's try to understand the reflection of your past life karmas in this present life. And how with the help of your fifth house, you can check the past life karmas that are actually impacting your present life. And even if you want to study the deeper impacts which are connected with your marriage, which are connected with the relationships, some karmas that are connected with your career, even the money and wealth part also. So you have the capacity to check all that karmas with the help of your fifth house. Now many people say ninth house is the house of Bhagya, and I agree with them. Ninth house is the house of your fortune, okay? So that represents the luck factor of a native. But fifth house in Vedic astrology is the Bhavat of the ninth house. So if you count 9 to 9, then comes the fifth house. So that is the higher house of your Bhagya. And that is why fifth house is responsible for checking the past life deeds. Or in Hindi we call it as Purv Sanchit Karma. The deeds which we have performed in the present life. So what is the cumulative and the combined effect which you bring in this present life is actually seen through the fifth house. And that is where this is the house which is responsible for creation, creativity, even your children, even the entrepreneurship also. Now children is also a very important part of anyone's life. And you can see the reflection of your past life deeds in your kids as well. And that is where most of the things in Vedic astrology are pre-decided. There are many discussions going over the free will in Vedic astrology or some things which are predestined. I will tell you there are total 12 houses in Vedic astrology and most of the houses are not in your control. You have no capacity to control these houses, like you have no capacity to choose your family, which kind of a family members you are going to born and brought up with. So you have no capacity to choose your parents. Similarly, you have no capacity to choose your kids as well, even your siblings also. So that is the representation of a Drid Karma, which are totally fixed, okay? So here the free will is not going to play a very important role. Here these are the destined karmas. Now fifth house in Vedic astrology is one of the biggest blessings. And with the help of fifth house, you can actually check out the blessings that are actually present in your life. This is one of the positive side which I'm going to cover in this video. And the second is the negative side of the fifth house that I would also like to cover in this particular video. Now when I'm saying the positive side of the fifth house lord or the planet that is actually the controller of your fifth house is one of the most important planets in Vedic astrology. Because that planet have the capacity to govern your deeds or what kind of a karmas that you have actually performed in the past life. Now when I say past life, it's not applicable to only one life. It may be 200, 300, thousands of life. So that accumulated karma is coming through the fifth house. Now for example, fifth house is forming some sort of connection with your seventh house of marriage. It may be with 11th house of money and wealth, second house of your savings aspect, even the family part also. So if the fifth house lord is very well positioned in your horoscope, that have the capacity to alter the negative impacts which are coming through the marriage, relationships or from the family side. It doesn't matter fifth house is going to form a strong connection with these houses, only then fifth house is going to show certain improvements in your life. It may be fifth house lord is itself positioned in the fifth house. That is also going to determine the strength and the dignity. So it means it's extremely powerful. So the power of the fifth house or the fifth house lord have the capacity to actually create the positive impact in all the areas of your life. Now if you want to deeply study its impact, try to look into the different perspective, like where the fifth house lord is going and the planets that are actually sitting in the fifth house. So they shows the major improvements in your life. Even if you want to see the progression cycles, although the progression cycles in Vedic astrology are decided with the help of your Vimshotri Mahadasha, like what kind of a dasha pattern you are going to follow in your life, whether you are going to have Mars, Rahu, Jupiter dasha, or maybe you born in Saturn dasha, then Mercury, and then rest of the dashas. So the progression of an individual or a native is also seen through the fifth house. Any sort of progression, okay? Apart from this dasha part, fifth house Lord is also going to decide the progression of the native. Specifically, the controller of the fifth house and the planet sitting in the fifth house. So the maturity age of that particular planet is acting as the major turning point or the major progression age of your life. For example, Jupiter matured at the age of 16, Sun matured at the age of 21, Moon matures at 24, Venus 25, Mars 28, Mercury 32, Saturn around 36, Rahu 42 and Ketu 48. So these are the maturity ages of all the planets, okay? Now, depending over the controlling factor of the fifth house and the planets positioned in the fifth house, both of these planets, or it may be more than two planets, they are somewhat acting as a major turning points in your life. Or these are the planetary time frame where the major progressions of your life is going to take place. Now here you need to merge the maturity of age of the planet along with your Vimshotri Mahadasha. That will help you to make the more precise predictions. I'm talking about the event prediction, event of marriage, event of job loss, event of starting a business, event of childbirth, or any other major event in your life, event of buying a property, selling a property, event of foreign travel. So these events are actually controlled through the fifth house, because I told you this is your past life deeds. Now, which Lord is very strong, this will actually acting as a additional factor in your kundli, or this is acting as a adding factor. So that have the capacity to show improvement into all the other areas of your life. Now, there are certain negative karmas that are also associated with the fifth house. And that is a bad side of actually the fifth house. You can also see curses in your life through fifth house. Maybe your seventh house Lord is very well dignified in the kundli. Seventh house is the house of your marriage, okay? So, but still you are having delay marriage, divorce happening, yogas of separation are there, not be able to maintain a cordial relationship with your husband or wife, even though you are having a very strong seventh house. So why the negative part is coming from that area? And that is where fifth house is going to give you the answers. That is based over your certain past life deeds or some bad karmas that have the capacity to create impact into this present life. Even let me take the example of your career. 10th house of is actually the house of career. Although Saturn is a Karka, Mercury is a Karka, Dashmash Kundli, they all are going to play a very important role. But I'm not asking you to go much deeply right now. Just for an instance, for example, you are facing certain difficulties in your career, some major instabilities. Maybe from past 15 years, you are continuously chasing one career, and now at the age of 42 or 45 maybe, you are thinking of like, I'm going to change my career now. This career is not giving me the sense of fulfillment or the enough money or whatever reasons. It may be my boss is not going to be that much cordial, politics in the organization, or this business is not working. There are countable number of reasons, okay? Now, fifth house Lord is that planet that have the capacity to impact these major changes in the positive side or even in the negative side of the life. For example, you make one decision. Now that decision is going to take you into the positive side or in the negative side. That part also depend over the fifth house. That is actually your past life deeds, the karmas which you have performed in your past life. Even any sort of decision you are suppose making of, I'm going to go abroad for foreign settlement and I'm going to operate up there. Now many a times fifth house is also the house of children actually, and sometimes children are also responsible for making the important decisions where the parents are going to stay. Many charts in my day-to-day consultations also, I usually see many a time parents' charts are not deciding actually where they are going to stay in their life. Specifically because of Rahu and Ketu connection with their 4th house, 9th house, strong connection I'm talking about. Even there is no presence of physical planets in the 12th house. So they keep on wandering, 2 years there, then 3, 4 years, they are settling here and there. Now that is where 5th house is going to play a very important role. Because sometimes children are also going to decide where you are going to stay in your life. Even the problems that you are going to face because of the children is also seen through 5th house. Now most of the time, if you are watching this video, if you are not a married person, not having husband and wife or maybe kids right now, you might not be able to understand the karma connectivity which right now I'm talking about. You can understand the karma connectivity with your parents and your siblings. But I'm talking about the karma connectivity after marriage, that is with your spouse, with your life partner, even with your kids as well. So how their planetary karmas are impacting you and your personal finances, even your career life, is actually seen through the 5th house. So if the 5th house lord is very negatively posited in the chart, or if the 5th house lord is debilitated, or certain debilitated planets are actually coming into the 5th house, so these are actually becoming the halting factor in front of your growth. I'm not talking about growth only in your personal side or professional side. I'm also talking about the spiritual growth of the native. Many people, they tend to grow spiritually in their life. And many people while living inside the family, they also tend to grow spiritually. Whereas many people, they tend to become more lonely, secluded, and they will think like that this is the way of spirituality, and still they are unfulfilled. Their souls, they will not be able to sense that fulfillment inside them. So why that is coming? That is actually from the 5th house. In the original Kalpurusha Kundli also, if you check, 5th house is ruled by Suryadev, planet Sun, and with the sign of Leo. Now Sun is actually the Atamkarka Graha. Atamkark simply means the planet holding the highest degree in your horoscope. That is actually becoming the Atamkarka Graha. And Sun is naturally that sole significator planet. Now, irrespective of which ascendant you are, irrespective of where your planets are posited, the planet that is controlling the 5th house also tend to behave like the Atamkark planet. Because here the Urja of the sign of Leo is posited. Kalpurusha Kundli is applicable to everyone. So the Urja or the energy of that 5th house is somewhat connected with that Atamkark planet. And that is where the maximum amount of karma is connected with that single most planet. Wherever that lord is going or wherever that is posited, it shows the major amount of karma that you need to fulfill in this present life. It may be 5th house lord going in the family house, 2nd house, so the family related karmas. In your 4th house, motherly karma, 10th house, father related karma, 9th house, your higher education or your guru related karma. In the 8th house, that is going to be the supernatural house that is connected with adhyatam, knowledge, mantra sadhana, astrology. So in that way, you can actually study the major amount of karmas in your life. Now these karmas might going to be becoming the sufferings in your life, or they might going to act as a blessings. Now that is where the strength and dignity of this house is very important. And that is where when you actually start as a beginner in the field of Vedic astrology, you start picking up charts and then you start giving predictions, and 7th house lord is very well posited, you give a good prediction, but nothing that sort is happening. 11th house lord forming a Lakshmi yoga, but still you are poor, there is no money in your pocket. So why these yogas are not working? Like if some yoga is in the astrology, so that yoga surely need to work. So where is the actual problem that existed in the 5th house? Answer of your questions also lies in the 5th house, and that is where this is the core house which represents the buddhimata. Intelligence of a person is also seen through the 5th house. You see the trine houses, 1st, 5th and 9th, they are actually controlled by the fire. Okay, fire represents the intensity, power of creation is also present inside the fire, even power of destruction itself is in the fire. And that is why you born with certain ascendant in your life. In the Kalpurush Kundli, Mars rules over the creation part, and at the same time, Mars is the planet that rules over the zodiac sign of Scorpio, that is the destruction part. So it means the fiery planets or the fire have the capacity to create and disintegrate, or fire have the capacity to create something new or have the capacity to destroy. And that is where, in order to see whether you will be able to destroy your past life deeds in this present birth or not, or whether there are going to be certain unfulfilled karmas which you are going to taking into the next life, that is seen through the next 9th house. Similarly, 5th house is your past life deeds, 9th house is the representation of your next life. So it means the fire is getting transmitted into the fire. There is no any other element coming in the picture, no water element, no earth element, no air element. Only the fire elements are actually getting transferred from this present life to the next Janma. And that is where 5th house Lord forming any sort of connection with your 9th house, or 9th house Lord forming any sort of connection with your 5th house, actually have the capacity to represent most of your karmas are actually going to be fulfilled in this present life. Or you have the capacity to nullify or empty all the pending karmas in this present life. Most of the time, if Rahu and Ketu exist, they are actually strongly posited in the 5th or 11th or maybe even in the 9th house. So the maturity age of these planets, once again I repeat, Rahu mature at 42, Ketu mature at 48. If Rahu is posited in your 5th house, it means up till the age of 42, you are going to suffer because of some karmic influences from the past life. It may be certain relationships in your life. You are staying with some person for maybe 1, 2, 3 years, and after that suddenly the breakup is happening. So why these people are coming from few duration of in your life and then they are leaving away? Why these things are happening? This is actually the 5th house. Now there is one advanced concept also. You need to go into the retrogradation cycles. If you don't know what is retrograde planet, you can go to my playlist and try to understand what is retrograde. Retrograde is nothing, just the simplest explanation of retrograde is commitment of same mistakes again and again into your life. Or you are operating in a cycle, circular cycle, where you are starting from this point and you are again ending at this point. So there is no any escape route. You are continuously revolving around similar kind of circumstances again and again and again. Now that is the retrogradation. Now many a times if the 5th house Lord is also retrograde, and I know many charts, they are having 5th house Lord retrograde in their Kundli, or many a time some retrograde planets are coming in your 5th house. Many a time 5th house Lord is in conjunction with some retrograde planet. It shows the intensity of your past life karmas are going to be very high. And this will actually going to take a lot of time for you to burn these karmas in your life. Now I'm keep on repeating the word karmas, karmas or karmas. The karma word is actually connected with your 5th house also. It shows the karmic connections with someone. Maybe with your family. You are suffering because of your mother. Because of your father, you are having some karmic debt in your life. There are certain ancestral debt present in your life. Debt because of the children. You are wasting money over your children for their education, or maybe you are spending. But still your children, they are not performing well in their life. Why so? This is a karmic debt. Major losses in your life is also seen through 5th house. And don't think like that loss of money is the loss of everything. Loss of respect, loss of reputation, loss of dignity in the society is also seen through 5th house. Many people that are actually striving towards attaining the higher and topmost positions in their life. It may be in the corporate side, it may be in the political side, it may be in the spiritual side. So anyone who is actually striving towards that topmost position. So 5th house is that house which have the capacity to give you a chair. Okay. Chair is that Magha Nakshatra. Okay. Magha means that royal nakshatra that also lies in the Kalpurush Kundli in the 5th house. So that royalty is also seen through that 5th house. Now whether you have the capacity to hold that topmost position in your life for longer duration of time or not, that is also seen through 5th house. Many are becoming CEOs nowadays and they are resigning the very next day. They are losing their positions. Many suddenly climb up the corporate ladder with a lot of hard work, but they will not be able to retain that part. So where is the problem? Your 10th house lord is very excellent. That is why you have actually gone to that heights. And that is where 5th house is going to show the major down periods of the life. When you are going to be extremely down, zero, at complete zero level, where you have nothing. So the power of nothing is also present in the 5th house. And that is the destructive side of the fire. As I told you, fire is responsible for creation and destruction at the same time. So destructive side of the 5th house, this is going to actually take a person nowhere, where there is nothing, total emptiness. And that is where once again you are creating, and then you are also rising up to certain height in your life. That is why this is the house of your achievements also. Any major achievements in your life is seen through 5th house. 5th house, don't just like take it in the side of only 5th house's children or education. No, this is more than that. There are total 12 houses in Vedic astrology, and there is going to be a deep significance connected with each and every house. I have even made one video, you can search it over YouTube or my playlist section, the seeds in the 5th house, and I made that video maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I will link that thing in the description section below. You can please watch that video. The seeds in the 5th house, how this 5th house is acting as a seed, that is the nurturing house. And because of that seed that is present in the 5th house, your life is getting reshaped because of this particular house. Apart from this, one more thing. As I told you, 5th house comes under the trines, okay? Now you need to also study which kind of a zodiac signs are actually coming in my trine houses. 1st, 5th and 9th. It depends over your ascendant. And try to study your divisional charts also. Whether your ascendant is similar or dissimilar, maybe in your Divan chart, you are air ascendant. In Navamsa, you are fire, or in the Dashmash Kundli, maybe you are becoming the earth element. Or try to look into the 5th house lord, whether this is posited in which zodiac sign. It may be fire, water, air element. And then try to pick this element and study into the divisional charts. Look in how many divisional charts you are having the fire or the same ascendant as that of the 5th house. This is actually going to show the more past life connectivity is actually getting reflected into these divisional charts. If, for example, your 5th house is ruled by air element, the sign of Libra, Aquarius, or even the sign of Gemini, and you are having either the sign of Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius in both in the D9 or even in the D10 chart, so it shows, yes, there are major karmas that are getting transferred into your 9th house, into the 9th divisional chart, into the 10th divisional chart. And that is where you cannot say marriage is the free will. And that is where you come one step more closer to reality, and you tend to understand marriage is also somewhat a predestined thing. So these are the few things which are not in human control, which are not in your control. And 5th house is going to show that thing. And that is where the power of creation and destruction is given to this particular house. Or the 5th house lord is that house. That is that particular planet that have the capacity to take you towards extreme richness, extreme poor level, extreme happiness, extreme sorrow, extreme pain. So this is that extreme house. Either with that 5th house lord, or if the dasha of that 5th house lord is coming, you are either going to be at a 0 or going to be at hero, top level. This is that kind of a Shakti house, we call it as. Trine houses are known as the Lakshmi Sthana, and the quadrants are known as the Vishnu Sthana. So this is actually that trine house. This is the house of Ma Lakshmi. Now Lakshmi is not only the goddess of wealth. There are total 8 forms of Lakshmi, okay? So you can study that 8 forms of Lakshmi, like Dhan Lakshmi, Vidya Lakshmi, Santan Lakshmi, Aishwarya Lakshmi, Veera Lakshmi, Vijaya Lakshmi, Adi Lakshmi and Gaj Lakshmi. So 8 forms of Lakshmi represent different forms of prosperity. Children are also considered as the biggest source of wealth in your life. Even power and status, that is your Vijaya Lakshmi, also considered as one of the major thing. So that is why this is that Shakti house. And that is where seed of your life is actually lies in the 5th house. You can pick up any people chart, any successful, any non-successful people. If you want to see the actual reason, because everyone is hardworking nowadays, everyone is putting extra efforts, extra hard work everywhere. They are giving their 100% contribution, where few people are becoming successful. Now you might going to say they are becoming successful because of your 9th house, because of your 9th house of fortune, because of your bhagya, because of your luck factor is favoring them. I will tell you, 9th to 9th is 5th house. That is the higher house. So the answer lies in that 5th house. And that is where when you initially pick up the chart, rather than looking into ascendant, try pay attention towards the 5th house. In India, if you visit to ancient villages, many astrologers give predictions just by looking into your 5th house. They will give all the predictions. Predictions of marriage, predictions of which family you belong to. Even if you come to I am from Himachal, okay, Himachal Pradesh. In Himachal also, in certain part of Odisha, Tamil Nadu also, even if you go towards the Rajasthan and even that Gujarat side, here few astrologers, they give prediction just looking into your 5th house. Because 5th house represent each and everything, because seed actually lies in the 5th house. So I hope you have gained some deep insights regarding 5th house in this video with me. If you are having any queries, any consultation with regards to your chart, any other house placement, feel free to contact me at my email ID. If you require any marriage, career, spiritual or even business consultation, do let me know. I will try my best to respond you back as soon as possible. Even feel free to subscribe my channel below. And if you want to send me super thanks, if you have gained certain insight, do send me super thanks. And you can follow me on Instagram. And I'm going to meet you very, very soon in the next video. Till then, bye-bye and Hare Krishna.